Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pen Fans series. In this amazing series on the Appelboom YouTube channel, we ask pen fans three really important questions. And on this episode, we have a very special guest because it is Brian Gray from the Edison Pen Company. But before we're going to ask him three questions, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss out on a video. Do it right now if you haven't done it yet. All right, Brian, welcome to this amazing video series. And I have three questions for you. And the first question that I would like to ask you is, how did you get into fountain pens?
It really, I remember I had a fountain pen when I was about 10 years old, and I got it from, I think it was just a pharmacy, that just had writing supplies. And I enjoyed it, and I don't know what happened to it. And then over the years, I really wish I had it. I'm pretty sure it's just this cheap cross, just cartridges. And I think I probably ran out of cartridges and didn't know where to get ink. But I remember enjoying it. And then I always enjoyed woodworking way before I was into pen making. And with woodworking, of course, you can use a wood lathe. And so I started making these pens that you can buy kits, and then you build the barrels out of wood. And I made those. They were pretty cool. I enjoyed doing them, and mostly roller balls. And then I was like, yeah, this fountain pen thing, I'm going to check this out, And so then once I started making those kit fountain pens, I really enjoyed them. And learning how to tune the nib was important to me because the first nib that I had was terrible. And I thought, this isn't what fountain pens are about, is it? And so I kind of learned a little bit more with that. And I remember that it also helped my handwriting a ton. Back then, I was working a job in pharmaceutical sales, and I had this terrible computer that literally took 10 minutes every day to start up. 10 minutes. I mean, that's a lot. And so during that and it had to be restarted every day. If you didn't reboot it, then it just wouldn't work for the day. So during those 10 minutes every day, I would sit down and I would literally practice my handwriting. I had a Palmer method book, and I would do my ABCs. I would do the lazy fox, that thing, and I just started improving my handwriting 10 minutes every day. And it was neat and it was important to me. And then from there, I kind of expanded from kit pens to making my own designs. But that's kind of how it all started as far as my passion for pens. And then once I got deeper and deeper into it, then, oh my gosh, you start making pens, you got to go to pen shows. And once you go to a pen show, it's like, whoa, this is a huge world. There's a lot going on with fountain pens, much, much more than I thought. New, modern, vintage. There's just so many cool things out there with fountain pens.
Thank you. Let's go to the second question. I made up this question before we did the whole podcast thing, but after the podcast, I might want to change the question a little bit because the first question that I had in mind was, which pen that you made or designed are you the most proud of and why? But I can also make it like which pen that you destroyed, because apparently you're very good at that. But let's stick to the original question. Which pen that you made or designed are you the most proud of and why?
Yeah, I think that that I'm most proud of probably wouldn't be a specific model, but a filling system. Early on, I kind of did my version of a vacuumatic that used of course, a latex diaphragm. So I was taking all vintage inspiration from this, and we had, we manufactured the bushing, the push rod and everything. And then we had the latex diaphragm. And it took me about 3 to 5 years to realize that, look, you know what, latex in modern pens is probably not a good idea because you need to repair them every 3 to 5 years. Even if you use inks, my experience, if other people might not have the same experience, but my experience was that every 3 to 5 years, no matter what ink you use, if you're using a pen with a latex diaphragm or sac, you're going to have to be handy enough to repair it. And we were getting way too many pens back that needed repaired, and that wasn't really up to my standards. So I took the concept of the vacuumatic, got rid of the diaphragm, and replaced it with a piston unit. So essentially, now it might be hard to see, and actually there's no nib on this pen, I apologize. But this is a translucent pen, so hopefully you can see through here, but let me see which looks best. There's that piston unit inside. Oh, I hope that's visible. Can you guys see that moving inside there? It's translucent enough. So essentially, this is the same concept as a vacuumatic, but replacing it with a piston unit that uses chemically resistant O-rings. I never have to deal with, long-term maintenance, repair, or redoing it. And it turned out that there were a ton of advantages to this over a latex diaphragm. And my love of vintage pens, I have a feeling that if Parker would have continued with the vacuumatic, I think they would have evolved to exactly this as well. Because this is it displaces a lot more volume than a diaphragm, which means that it fills faster, it empties faster, and it fills with more capacity. Because it displaces so much, it just sucks so much ink through that breather tube, and you get a huge capacity. So this is a Menlo. I can't remember if I said that when I first brought the pen out, but this is a Menlo. It's not necessarily my favorite model that I'm the most proud of, but the filling system is probably what I'm most proud of.
All right, makes sense. Let's go to the last question, and that is, what is your top tip for someone using fountain pens?
Oh, tinker with your pens. Attempt repairs. Do nib work. Nib work is not nearly as magical as what people think. If it's tine alignment, maybe a little work with a gap. Smoothing, that is much easier than what a lot of people probably think. They think that, now, of course, not grinding the extra fines, not grinding stubs. I'm just talking about basic tine alignment and smoothing. It's not magical. I mean, a lot of people think that there's no way that I can take this nib that's scratchy and fix it myself. You really can. Start with cheap pens. Start with pens that you can get a replacement nib for, because you probably will mess up. But in the process of doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to develop skills that is going to enhance the hobby for you greatly. I mean, imagine if you could take your entire collection of fountain pens and take your best writer. I love the way this nib writes. Imagine if you could develop the skills to apply that to your entire collection, and it's not difficult to do at all. So play around with nib work, cheap pens, nibs that you can replace, and you're going to find, and look for resources online. We do have a resource on our website all about nib tuning and nib smoothing. I'm not trying to be promotional there. There's tons of videos out there that will show you how to do nib work. Little things like, my clip is brassing and the plating is off. Well, how do you replace that clip? Maybe get online and figure out how to do that. Replace this finial, install a new clip. All those little things that you think might be for a repairman or repair person. Consider whether or not you want to go online and learn, because the more skills you get to maintain your pens and make them better, the more you're going to love the hobby. And if you can take a nib that's disappointing and make it sing, you're going to feel so good, and you're going to breathe life into your collection, new life into your collection that you never had before. So tinker, start with I said this already, start with your cheap pens. Don't tinker with your very expensive pen with an 18 karat nib, but, and even go buy 5 pilot varsities and just start playing around and see what happens when you raise a tine, lower a tine, when you spread the gap in the tines. What happens when you do that? Get yourself the proper tools for smoothing, micro mesh and mylar paper and all that. So enjoy your pens and tinker with them. And I promise the hobby will be enhanced for you, because it's not nearly as difficult as what most people think.
All right. Thank you, Brian, for this amazing tip. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again, Brian, for doing these 3 questions with us. Please keep up the great work that you're doing with Edison Pen Company. And everybody that's watching right now and haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to do so you won't miss out on a video yet. And we will see you next week with another video. Bye-bye.